Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour on this fantastic April 9th, 2021. I'm your host, Andrew Barnes, here with my great co-host today, Brad Tilton. Why don't you give us an intro?
Hello, my name is Brad Tilton, and I am a developer advocate with the developer program here at ServiceNow. I've been developing on ServiceNow since 2008. And am excited to do some UI Builder development today.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. And I, too, am a developer advocate here at ServiceNow. Been developing on the platform, not quite as long as Brad has, but for about 7 years. And I am just super excited to be here with you today. This is my favorite way to get into the weekend. And we're gonna jump right into things today. So let's introduce our beverages.
All right, I am drinking, I've done this once before on the show. This is a Avery Brewing barrel-aged stout, of course. It's called Tweak.
Tweak.
It's
nice. Good. I did not realize that my second Norwegian beer was the same brewery as the one from last week. So I get to slaughter its name again. So this one is a barrel-aged porter, and the brewer is Brigadier. Is as close as I'm going to get to that today. And I'm excited about it because the one last week was really good. So I hope this one is too. So we are going to talk about UI Builder today. Let's set the stage real fast. If you've never been here before, welcome. We're glad you're here and delighted that you're here with us live if you are, or watching it later. We do completely unscripted. That is, we don't practice this stuff ahead of time, nor do we even decide fully what we're doing until now. We're going to make some choices actually in a moment. So this is unscripted. We haven't practiced this. This is not a polished demo. But what it does is it shows you, the person interested in ServiceNow development, what it actually looks like under the hood as a developer, doing things on a daily basis, running into walls, and then figuring out ways to go around them, under them, or scale that, however you get through that wall. Might be Kool-Aid Man for those of you who get that reference. But that's what we do on this show. Today, specifically, Brad, we're going to be looking at UI Builder. So that is our, in Quebec, we've got a greatly enhanced UI Builder that allows us to put together all of these more than 100 now experienced components that ServiceNow provides, along with ones that we might create ourselves. By developing them locally with the CLI and deploying them to our instance and tying them together and building these experiences. So what experience are we going to work on today? Are we wearing the same Orlando shirt today?
No, I think I went Quebec today.
Okay. Yeah. What experience are we building today, Brad?
Yeah, so I have myself and Lisa Holenstein have CreatorCon workshops around UI Builder, and we both start with the same app. It's an app created through AES. It's a blogging application, and my workshop creates the portal side of the app, which is kind of the front end where you go in and look at a list of blog posts and click into one and you get the post and you can like it. Lisa's is the authoring experience through a workspace. So if you get the chance, you should do both of those. If you're interested in UI Builder, they're complementary. You don't have to do one before the other. But what we're going to do today is we're going to take the portal that you end up with at the end of my blogging workshop, and we're going to add commenting, or the goal is to add commenting to the post. So the post currently, and we'll show this in a little bit, you can click into a post, read it, and then there's a like button at the bottom where you can increment the like count. And I would also like to add commenting to that. And we have a couple of options for how we can do that.
Oh, that sounds like fun. So I will make sure that I add the links to those 2 sessions. So if you haven't registered for Knowledge yet, go ahead and do so. And if you have, you'll be able to use those sessions right now. And for the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to favorite those sessions that Brad just outlined. And then later, maybe even when you're watching this, though they might be available for you to do if this is far enough in the future for you. So that sounds like a fun thing to do. Is there any other setup that we need before we start screen sharing?
I don't think so.
All right, well, let's do that then.
Let's get into it. Google Chrome is what we're sharing.
Google Chrome. Hello,
All right.
comma. It's nice to see you.
How do we look?
I mean, you look fabulous, Brad, but let's see how your screen share looks.
All right. I think that'll work.
I've got you to the C on create an app on your button in the top right.
All right. I'll probably pull it over when we get going.
We're doing UI Builder today,
Builder.
so I might need to give you the whole screen.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will see. So I did want to highlight the beautiful landing page in the PDI. This is a wonderful page to be in. And if you click on Open UI Builder, you get into UI Builder. So I've got a bunch of experiences listed in here, and we're going to get into the blogging one. So let's do this. Zoom in just a little bit, and then I can pull it over if we want.
No, I've got you recentered.
All right.
But what I will ask you to do is zoom in at least one more time, and then when possible, collapse one of those sidebars.
Got it.
It won't be possible all the time, but if we can keep one of them collapsed most of the time, I think we'll be okay. And you out there watching, let us know if we need to adjust anymore.
Yeah, so this is the landing page. Let's go ahead and just look through. This is a very simple portal experience. There is this landing page that lists a featured post, and then it has a data set component that shows all of the posts. This is our Plant Corp company that we came up with a couple of weeks ago, and that's what we use in the UI Builder workshops. So there are plants on the show today. This is a plant here to appease all of our plant people watching. So the blog posts are all my UI Builder blog posts from the developer blog. And yeah, so you can click into any of these. If you click into the resources, you get the blog post page. This is made up of a number of different components, and we'll end up taking a closer look at the page. And then there's a like button down at the bottom where I can like it. And then the count will eventually increment to 1 from 9. I know why it did that, but it's still not fun. Anyway, so this is the blog post page. What we want to do is we want to add some comments down here too. So every blog should have some commenting. So that's what we want to add. And we have...
To play up your workshop a little bit. So this is the outcome of your 2 workshops together, right? Well, yours does this front end and hers does the authoring experience. And so this is the outcome of yours. And how long do you think that workshop takes? Is it 50 minutes?
That's a great question. I have not been through and timed it yet.
But something like an hour.
It's something like an hour to an hour and a half.
Nice.
The like lab is actually a challenge lab, so that one may take a little longer. But the first lab, you build this page. The second lab, you customize the existing landing page, and then the third lab, you add data set. The fourth one, you do theming. And then the last one is a challenge lab where you add likes. So yeah, this portal is the outcome of my lab. And then Lisa's lab is the author experience. So it's a workspace experience. So we started both of the labs if you go into AES and say, create me a portal experience or create me a workspace experience, that's where we start from these labs.
Phil has got a question, and I almost want to tell him he's going to have to go do the workshop.
what's the
and you can still answer it that way, but I'll at least say the question, which is how is that page layered? Is the section containers got a background image styled in? Like, how are you doing that?
I believe
you're welcome to tell him do the workshop.
I believe it's this road. This is actually, if you spin up a portal experience, you get a portal that has this image in it already. So we don't change images out. And it's part of this row. This is a slot in the body, it's a slot. And it has a URL here that sets the background image. So just an image that's set as the background image for this container. All right, so we have a decision to make to start. So I think we all understand we want to add comments to the blog post page, and we have two options for that. So option one is there's this nested comments widget, not widget, it's a component. There's a nested comments component built for the knowledge base that kind of looks like it would work for our blog posts. We don't reply to components. There's no nested comments. So we don't reply to blogs. There's no nested comments.
But I think that's fine to have them nested though.
Like, yeah, I think on the back end,
we did it for simplicity's sakes for ours, because it was a lot easier to not do nesting. But I think nesting is perfectly fine. And in the data structure, it's easy because you just add the parent field and now you have nesting. So
yes. So that's one option, is to try to reverse engineer this comments component, which, obviously taking a component and using it for a purpose that was not the original intention is always risky. They could change the way the component works, and my blog comments might stop working. Our other option is to create an EVAM, which will give me a set of records, and then use a data set component, but have it show in a list instead of the cards that you see on the blog homepage. And then kind of do that a little bit more manually, and then have a button that says add comment. We pop up a modal, you type in your comment and submit, and then it shows up in the dataset component. So the decision is, which one do we want to do? And
I want it to look like theirs. So I either want
to look nice.
I either want to, reverse engineer it and do one just like theirs, or see if we can leverage theirs.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I was drawn to this this comments component, is because right now in UI Builder, there's not a component that lets me do like a repeat or a loop or iterate through things. I would really love something where I give it a set of data and it iterates through that, and then I can call components within that iteration. I am guessing that something like that will be available eventually, or maybe we'll build it on the show sometime. But we're kind of limited at this point to either a list, which I don't think is going to look right for comments, or this comments component, or using a data set component as a list, which is still going to kind of look listy instead of like this. So I think we both lean towards repurposing.
Yeah, I lean towards repurposing this or building our own custom component. Like that's, and since I'm not prepared to build a custom component today, so I don't have my custom component hat building on today. Let's see if we can repurpose this one and see how close it is.
I'm not even on the right computer to build a custom component
Yeah.
right now. So, let's repurpose this.
Let's repurpose this and see how far we get. And then that will tell us if it makes sense for us to make our own custom one.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the component itself is not very complex, right? There's only these 6 properties. So in the properties that look like they're doing the most work are this comments property. This is a real small property for what looks like probably a big JSON blob that gets injected into it. And then this actions. So if we look at the actions, it looks like, what if I go, yeah, there we go. This is just, this is how we have the delete button, right? So I guess we could add more buttons to this. What if we add a new button and call it
Brad? I like the Brad button.
I don't know. I just like to name things after myself. So do we get
that's good branding?
Invalid JSON.
And it's only one N away from brand.
Oh, and now our trash can icon turned into an ellipses icon. Is that what we can call this? This isn't really material to what we're doing, but I was curious.
that's where half of the show goes.
Hey, there we go. Now we have a Brad action.
All right. I love a Brad action.
So that all this actions does, I guess, is add actions on that part. It is not doing anything with like or reply. So this comments is looking at this data resource, and it's the retrieve knowledge comments, and then the output is this knowledge comments. So let's take a look at what that data resource was. It retrieve? Yeah. So it's calling, so it looks like by default, there's this retrieve knowledge comments composite data resource. And a composite data resource basically means that you've taken more than one data resources and put them together so that you can just call it all at once. So I think this one probably has at least a GraphQL data resource that's pulling data, and then it's got a transform data resource that's taking that data and putting it into a format that this component is going to expect, which is here.
That makes sense to me, that it's, a GraphQL feeding it to this.
Sorry, you broke up for me. I don't know if that's my connection or you.
I said that makes sense. So let's,
all right.
Let's go see if we should probably go track down that GraphQL, right?
Yeah, I wonder if we should start by taking, by just taking this and seeing if we can change the JSON and feed it to a new component on our blog page, and then we worry about getting the data into it later on. Does that make sense?
Okay, sure. I'm flexible today. All
right, so let's go to our page. Hopefully everybody's still following. I'm gonna copy this somewhere.
Yeah, it feels like that looks good. We're gonna go build our own GraphQL to feed it. Done. And I'm like, yes.
All right.
We see eye to eye, Phil. You can't see me. I'm doing the eye to eye gesture.
All right, here's my blog post. This is what it looks like on the back end. I don't think we looked at this. So just a bunch of components that are pulling data from a single data resource. And then I've got another data resource for the like button. So I'm going to add another component after component 5. No, let's add it after the button. And I'm going to make that container, because I generally put everything in a container. And then we're going to add that comments, nested comments. And then this is what I think I want to do. I want to create another client state parameter that's, let's just call it comments JSON. And I want it to be JSON. And then this was what we got from the KB comments.
Okay.
So let's change them and say this is a blog comment. And we'll say for this one, here is a blog comment. All right, so this is our JSON here, and then we will, let's bind that JSON here.
And so just use a few more words to tell us. So you're interacting in UI Builder with a component, and you're configuring that component in the properties area. And can you collapse the navigator? Yeah, just click the page.
Does that one collapse?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
And you're interacting with that in its properties, and in there you just adjusted the or you were going to adjust the data. What do we call the little data as the database little icon?
It's the
area.
Dynamic data binding
Dynamic
icon.
data binding.
We made it short so it's easy to remember.
And to me, I'm like the little database icon.
Yeah. So what
That's
we
the
did
name.
was we took this client state parameter, and client state parameters are basically like the page's scratch pad or the page's state, however you want to think about it. And so this was just a place for me to put that JSON, and then we can bind it into the comments field here. Right. So this comments JSON, this is our value. This is what we grabbed from that other data resource, and we're just passing it in. So right now, and I believe this worked. So right now we have these comments here, but this is just
looks like it worked
data.
to me.
This is just static data that we passed in. Let's test it. So we do have some comments down here, so that's good.
Nice.
And so this is all part of, we didn't configure any of this. This has to be just part of the component. This shouldn't work because we didn't do anything to it, and it does not work. So what we need to do, we have a couple of, so we have a few things.
It makes sense that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, of course. We
just hard coded some stuff in a client parameter, and that's it.
So I think this comment submitted, this is where we need to do something to tell it to do that. So let's go ahead and do this part. Let's make it to where we can submit a comment first. So
do you want to just build it yourself, or do you want to go look at a place where they're using this and look to see how they're doing their event handling? I don't think it'll be a big deal, but that's a thing you can do when the thing is already in the system, is you can go see how it was used and leveraged.
Yeah, we can definitely look at it. Let's see. So this is the KB page. And if we look at it, it's doing an execute. So it's inserting a knowledge comment. This is a data resource, I think. And then it's showing submit comment alert. So this is a client script. I think when you do a comment, you still have one of those pages open, it'll show you an alert and say, hey, you submitted a comment successfully. And then this third one is refreshing that retrieve knowledge comments data resource. So this is a nice thing you can do. So after you submit it, then you need to tell the component like, hey, go get more data because we added something new to it. So it's doing three things. We probably don't, I think we need to just start with this execute. So insert knowledge comment. And this one, insert knowledge comment is here. So this is just a GraphQL query. So we may be able to just take this and do an insert and stay and change some values. Yeah. So let's try that. I think we're gonna have to go on the back end. So let's
I
go.
love a good copy.
There is another way we can
Copy
do
and
that,
adjust.
but let's start here. What was the name of that? Insert knowledge comment. Insert knowledge comment. I think this is the one.
This is the one.
So the problem with this is we have to remember how GraphQL works.
That's okay. I'm not scared.
So we're doing a mutate. So in GraphQL, mutate means you're changing data rather than a query means you're pulling data. App knowledge mutation, add
and
comment.
we're inserting a comment. Like
this. I don't. So we're giving it an article ID and a parent ID. I think we may need to end up doing our own thing because I think probably in this is going to be hard coded the knowledge comment table.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to have to do our own thing, but this does give us inspiration for like what we need to do, which is, grab the contents and shove it into a record.
So yes, but I think I'm going to do it differently. We're going to use, so let's go to the post. So I think we're going to do this really similarly to how we do the likes in this lab, which the likes, actually we can use the same data resource. So there's this data resource called CreateRecord. And it's a GraphQL data resource that does a mutation. And so what you do is you pass it a table. Well, let's look at the client script we have here. So this is how we add likes. So we pass it a table name, and then we pass it an encoded query for the table. And then we tell it whether our values are display values or not, and then we execute it. So it's a fairly straightforward thing that is still using GraphQL. We're just passing it these values. So I think this is what I want to do because it seems easier.
I'm the big fan of the easier.
So
I love the easier.
Let's add a new client script called add comment. Just one comment.
One at a time, please.
And then I'm pretty sure that table is named blogging comment. And if it's named comments, I'm going to be really upset with myself.
Well, I'll be upset
pretty sure
with
it's
someone.
Named comment. It would only be me. I'm the one that created it. So, and then let's just call this.
Brad, my beer is really good.
Nice.
How is yours treating you so far?
Mine is also good. I've had this one before. But we need something else. We need something else with this, which we need the payload from the comment
input. Yeah. Which was dollar context in the other one.
So let's say, comment is, I want to say it's event. That sounds right. .payload. And let's just log that and see. So see what we get there just to see what it is. And I know I can do like the fancy ES6 stuff, but I never remember exactly how it works. Actually, let's try it. I think I use the backticks. Somebody will have to tell me if I did that right. And then I'm going to comment out the rest of this because we don't actually want to create anything. And then we want to call this from that component.
Yep.
So let's look at this.
Click on the component, and then we're going to go into the events, and then we're going to Add a new event handler.
And there's lots of
Nice.
event handlers. And since we added this new client script, it shows up as an event handler. Also, you have, we talked about refreshing that lookup. And this is where you would come in and do a refresh on those. All right, so I'm going to save and let's open it. All right, and then post a comment. And this should be a payload.
My kitten is going a little crazy.
It's an object.
You can't control kittens.
All right, so let's go back and stringify this thing. Can I do that? Can I do that in here? I think that'll work. Let's come back and do a refresh. And then where am I?
Where is Brad? Where is Brad's
All
comment?
right.
There it is.
So payload is comment. No, that was part of that's what we logged. So the payload is content and parent ID because if you were replying to
the nesting.
Yeah, so that's the nesting. So we're not going to worry about the parent ID to start. We just want the content. So, yeah. Event.payload.content. And then let's see. Let's take a look at that table. And I'm pretty sure the field is, actually, I don't know what the field is called. It's called comment. That makes sense. So we've got comment, author, and post.
Okay.
So this is going to be author. Post is right.
Noise.
And then I think we just called that comment. Yeah.
My adult cat is trying to teach the kitten to be quiet during the stream.
Nice.
She's not yet winning.
That's right.
But she's trying. Right. I'll focus. No kittens. Or maybe we should focus the show on the kittens.
Maybe we should do it. We're doing we've done some plant stuff. Maybe we should do some kitten stuff.
Kittens are so great because they're like me. They're like 0 or 100. Like they live their life in like all the way or nothing.
All right. So we've got those 2 comments.
Okay.
Let's post a new one. This should be the 3rd comment. All right, so we posted it. This is all static, so it shouldn't show up there. But if I refresh, hey, we got another
all right,
comment.
Well, the show's over. Let's wrap it up. Let's go home.
So that worked.
Posted a comment. That worked. Right.
So now what we need to do is we
actually go read that table for the data
dynamic.
So we're going to have to go and look at the GraphQL that their API that they have and make our own.
And I think I remember. So let's look at composite data brokers. I think that one was like retrieve knowledge comments. Yes.
Nice.
All right. So it's got properties, you pass it an ID, and then, yeah. So what this is this JSON, I believe, is calling multiple data resources or data brokers. We renamed it to data resources at some point, and things still say data brokers in some places. So, so it looks like we're calling a GraphQL data resource that's grabbing, it looks like maybe all of the root knowledge comments, all the hot top level. And then this one is grabbing all of the nested comments
of that.
And then this last one is a transform. So it's taking those and probably running some JavaScript to turn them into that JSON blob that it can then pass to the.
So how much of this can we steal outright and just change the table?
That's what I want to do. So if I want to create a new one, do I? Yeah, I just have to paste in all the stuff. So let's start. So I'm going to start by grabbing the sys IDs so we know which we're looking at. So let's go data management. Yeah. So let's look at GraphQL queries. And we want, the first one is,
It's hard to not find the right thing when you're looking by sysid.
Fetch knowledge comments. That makes sense.
That makes sense. It does.
So this is using app knowledge query. I think maybe this is a defined GraphQL query. Let's see if we can find one called app knowledge query. So I'm going to grab everything in here, paste it in tab 27 of my JSON tabs that I have open. So do we think there is a GraphQL API experience settings, maybe? Is there anything in there? I am not sure.
Where's that
Where to find this query? Is it? So the other option is that we know what output we want, and we know where the data is. So we can just run our own lookup records and then do a transform. It would be nice if we could just change table names.
I feel like we should be able to just change table names. Why? Our data structure is so similar, and what we want to do is so similar. Where is app knowledge query? Where are you, little bugger?
I don't know what that is the problem. We don't have another one called app knowledge, do we?
Maybe it's a shared. Grumble.
What's this table? So I think this is all experience settings. This is all like stuff that maybe UI Builder is using, not our specific experience.
And Phil says it's maybe a GraphQL schema.
Yeah, but I think the schemas are all related to the APIs, right?
So can we open up the schema table and just do a query there?
Are we not? I think the schema is a field on the API table. right?
Oh,
So this
yeah, it
the
is
schema.
clearly. Okay.
So we are looking at, these are all of the related let's see. Item, get related articles. It said articles and KB,
Yeah.
and I got
It feels
excited.
close because it gets knowledge base articles that are related to a thing. Let's query scheme. Let us query the GraphQL API table at the list view for what we're looking for in the schema. Yeah.
This is the GraphQL.
Just query the schema.
Oh,
right.
got it. Okay.
Like in the, query there in the schema field. For comment or whatever the name of the thing was. Really? Is there's no, come on. You're kidding
What kind of
me.
field is that? Schema. Is it just a script field? Oh, it's a GraphQL schema type field. Of course it is. Of course it is.
And they don't have set up that you can query against it because that would be too nice.
That's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. All right. Well, we'll build it ourselves. It's fine.
Phil says to use NLQ. I mean, just punting and using NLQ does sound fun, but
we'll build it ourselves. We'll
build it ourselves. So this is what we're going to do. We know what we want it, what we need it to look like eventually, and we can use a couple of data resources to get there. And maybe we will be able to do this by the time the show is over. So we want a lookup records query.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and add that. You have to scroll all the way down.
Quite the scroll.
This is not my favorite message. I wish this didn't show up right when this came up. I don't know if Chris is watching this, but we can let him know. Okay, so this is comments. Nope, just comment. We named it right. And then
logging comment. And we want it against the
we want post is, oh, you know what? This bugs me. This is what do we have to do? I think we have to write a client script. This also annoys me. So this is what we have to
write a client script to put the post into something that we can retrieve it from in our.
We need an encoded query that says post equals this sysid.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do these dynamic data bindings, it's only, you're binding it to a whole value. You can't say post equals this dynamic data binding. So
we've got actually in the client script, we have to say post equals and then the sysid.
So this is going to be
whole thing.
Comment query.
That's kind of something.
And then we're going to add a client script. It says build comment query.
All right.
And this is just going to be API.setState. Nope. And it's comment query. We're going to set it to post equals and then it's what is it? API dot it's a param dot, or is it an import? We need this guy.
Yeah.
It's a required parameter called sysid. And it's an import. Let's see. Imports
dot sysid.
Params.
That's it. And does it have the underscore? Because
Oh, it does not. You're right.
I
So
really don't like it when they do that to me.
this is actually what we want to do. We're going to log this. I want just to log.
Import subparams.
Yeah. Well, I just want imports.params. Let's see if it's there.
Ah, that seems reasonable. Just get the whole thing and
So
see
now we
what's
need
in
to
there.
Call this from somewhere, build comment query. This, this is what we're going to do with this. We're going to add it to the like button. This one, that's the one. Can I
Because
make you
why
go
not?
first? All right.
Add it to the like button. A low refresh. I really do love the parameters to prettify the JSON, though. That comma null, comma 4 is really nice.
So
Did your like button do what we wanted?
It worked, but it didn't call my client script.
Maybe there's nothing in there.
Wrong? Imports. Oh, I don't think params.imports. Actually,
imports.
Well, let's just go here. To Jace, this is not for the like button. We're adding comments, and I have hijacked the like button in order to add a. This could be done differently, but this was the easiest way for me to. There's a 3-second timeout on this, and that still didn't work. So is it working? Build comment query, imports.
Just put something before the JSON. Like, hi, Brad.
All right. We are on the right page, right? Yeah.
That didn't say hi,
What is
Brad.
happening? What's wrong with this?
Build comment query.
Let's it's the script before it failing. It's not because it's incrementing the likes. So let's delete that out of there, and we will add this. Hey, so here's the thing. This isn't a total loss. If you click on the body and you go to events, you have all of these event handlers, and this is what I should have done initially, but I can add an event handler on the page ready event, which is something probably we'll have to do at some point. And let's just do that on the page ready event so we don't have to worry about the likes.
Clicking a button or anything. Yeah.
So
the page is ready because we refreshed. Got it.
Hit refresh, that client script should run, nothing happens. So this is definitely where you want to spend all your time in live coding happy hour.
Well,
debugging.
Kind of. so that you, the audience member, don't have to experience this pain. We are experiencing it for you.
There we go. So that worked.
Okay, so something in that parsing is angry.
Did I JSON dot stringify. So maybe imports, maybe there's no imports and it's not working. Let's just log out API then.
Okay.
Let's see what's there. We're looking for some sys ID. So if we see a sys ID, that's probably the post. Whoa.
Whoa. Okay. The API is extensive.
So
Hey.
api.context.props
Props.
.sysid is what we want. All right.
That looks like, yes, that is the sysid
Let's
of
go.
our
api.context.props.
.sys.
There it is. There it is. So
hey, when the thing you're looking for auto completes,
I'm so confident that
you're gonna go right to it. I love it.
We're just
Let's
gonna
do it.
to it here. And then I'm gonna get rid of. There's no save button for the client script, so you just click out of it, and it always makes me nervous. As you know, that would make me nervous.
There legit is just no save button. Like you're clicking out, like it's just saved all the time whenever you click out of it.
So
all right, that would freak me out. I like auto saving, but I also don't like auto saving.
There it is. So this is actually what we want it to do. We want it to build that query when the page loads, and then we want to use that query for the comments.
We do. It's true.
So where were we?
So that's here. Like you said, it's not a complete. Put it
there. We
in
go.
the right spot.
So that is comment query.
Query. Nice.
Hey.
And this is why we have to pass the whole thing, right? It's because it just drops in here as a
it'd be great if we could say, post equals, but we can't do that.
It does not.
And I just made it angry.
Yeah. But it's retrieving our comments.
So it's retrieving. We do need to give it. So if I take a look at what that here we'll do. Let's make you go away. So let's put this up here. So if we take a look at this is the JSON that my comment is expecting. Also working on my guidebook still. It's all right. So we want the sys ID of the comment, when it was created, the text, and then some info about the user, because it's going to use that avatar is reacted. Oh, that's a good one. And then any children here. So let's see if we can pass it just some of those things. So we want the sys ID, and then we want created. Oh, you have to hit the down arrow to get it to autocomplete, even when it is above the field. It hurts my brain whenever I have to do it. There we go. And then we want some user info. Can I dot walk? That's awesome.
Oh, because it's rendering in the, I get that. The down arrow should still come down from the top because it's a drop down. Yeah. It's not a drop up, but you do want it to render on the page.
So return fields. It doesn't look like I can do any dot walking.
That makes sense for lookup records.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, and it's going to give me the value. I just want to have the avatar, which is fine. I think that's it. I think that's all we need. So if I click out of that, whoa, nope. Oh, yay. All right. So row data, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So for each of these records, we have the field and then its value and display value.
Created, comment, author. Nice.
So then we would need to take this we don't have enough time to do this, but what we would need to do is we would need to come in and create a transform data resource. And actually, let's see.
What they're
I
doing.
still have, yeah, let's see what that other one does. I think I have its sysid. Create knowledge comments tree. Right. And so this is basically taking that GraphQL from the two data resources, and it is turning it, it's using JavaScript and turning it into some JSON. And of course, it is calling some
can
knowledge
feed right
script
into
include, so we can't just copy it, which is fine. So what we will need to do is we'll need to create our own transform data resource that grabs the data from our lookup records and then transforms it into a format that our comments field expects, our comments property expects. And so what we would do is we just add another data resource, and then we would bind the input property from that data resource to the output of this data resource.
Yep.
Or we could create our own composite data resource and then just call that. So I think either way works.
Sounds good. You want to wrap it up here? Feels like a good wrapping up point.
It does feel like a good wrapping up point. I think we're pretty much out of time anyway. So
yeah. Well, you know, we can always go longer, but I think this is a good wrapping up point.
That's true. All right, let's go back to our post one more time. And right, so the goal is that after we created that transform data resource, then we would have dynamically pulled comments here. And so when I added a comment, I would add the comment, then I'd do a refresh and it would come back and I'd have the other comment displayed here. And then later on, we could add some liking and reply. And I guess so we can say the reason that I picked a blog for this session was because we kind of want to rebuild the developer blog, and we thought, hey, it'd be good if we rebuilt this on Now Experience, and this was kind of a starter for that. So how do we get the blog going via UI Builder? So maybe at some point later on this year, you will see something that looks maybe a little bit like this, except with some actual design resources applied to it rather than my CSS hackery. But that's kind of our overall goal, is to, we don't like to do just one-off things. We want it to all build on each other. So that's why we did a blog. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the share.
Yeah, and so as you said, Brad, we really do like to, get multiple uses out of the same effort, which is why your workshop is dealing with the blog, is because we want to rebuild the blog, and also need to build some enablement content for Now Experience and UI Builder, and those things nicely aligned. And so Lisa put in the session numbers into the chat, but I will go and add the direct links to the sessions right after the show. But you can grab those if you're here right now live, and if you're here later, there'll be links that you could just click directly. That was really cool, Brad. It was not as much of we could just take it exactly as I had dreamed of in my dreams, but that was a lot of fun. So to talk about what we did is we looked at the knowledge comment component and the infrastructure that's behind that. So the GraphQL, the transforms, and data brokers that backed that. And we figured out what we need to provide to that comment component so that we can leverage it for our different tables that are doing a similar commenting process. And so that was a lot of fun. If there was a good takeaway from this today, what would you say that was, Brad?
It's a good question. I think a good takeaway is probably, well, one of the big takeaways that I was going to drive home or try to drive home at the end, no matter what, was you can kind of see from that comments component that it's really purpose built for knowledge comments, where we're kind of taking it and passing it some different things, and probably can make it work for blog comments, but blog comments are really similar to knowledge comments. So that probably works. But the overall takeaway there is that, UI Builder in Quebec is really good for configuring CSM configurable workspace and building workspace and portal experiences from AES. It is not in a place yet where you can take an existing service portal and just convert it to Now Experience using UI Builder. So, I think we can expect over the next, number of releases, there will be more components available for, doing different things. And I think we showed that some of the components that are available, some of them have really specific purposes. And there are some that are more generic, but
that's okay.
Right now, if right now the scope is kind of small, it's there for some really specific things and for you to get familiar with it, so that when you are ready to convert a service portal to UI Builder, whenever that is, you can do that. That would be my big takeaway.
And one thing that potentially I might have considered doing if I had architected it was I might have made the blogs knowledge articles.
I thought about that. The one, if we went,
just so I could steal all of the things that are so similar from knowledge articles.
The problem is that article page is it's like one big article page component. So we could have used knowledge articles and then just come up with our own page. But yeah, that's definitely a thing we could have done.
Yeah, because one of the things I do know about the developer site, which is a ServiceNow instance, and most of it is leveraging Now Experience, is most of the content on that site is actually stored in KB articles, and then rendered with components to see how you see the site. So I might have done that just for the sheer overall architecture on the dev site itself. I understand why you didn't, and I think it's the right move. But I might have, just because I like to have less overhead.
Still an option.
It's still an option. So that was really cool. So tell us, Brad, what is the rating of your beverage of choice today, and remind us what it was.
This is the Avery Brewing Annual Barrel Series Tweak Stout. It's very good. I've had it a few times. It's kind of expensive for me buying 4.25. So
I'm feeling like it's a 4.25.
I'm going to give it a 4.75. It's probably my favorite beer that I've had like in the last year or two. So yeah.
Favorite beer you've had in the last year or two, and it's still not a 5?
Yeah, I need a 5. I have to go unconscious.
What does the beer have to do to you to get
I'm
a
just
5?
Not ready to give something a perfect score yet. I don't know that I've found the perfect beer.
Well, in a well gradiated system like this, I guess 4.75 is plenty good. When people are like, yeah, I can't use, when your scale's only like 1 to 4, and people are like, well, I can't give it a 4. I'm like, there's not a lot of leeway there. But when you're talking about
a C, yeah.
But when you're talking about 0.25s from 0 all the way up to 5, there's enough room there to leave perfection on the table. But that's a hilarious thing in numbering systems for me is how much percentage wise is reserved for a thing you can't obtain. So my barrel aged porter, and that's just its name, is just barrel aged porter, is so good. Oh,
It sounds really good.
oh, it's so good. This is so. I think last week was a 4.75 for the Norwegian wood, but it got some compounding things with the name, and so I think this is almost as good. Might even be as good, but it's a 4.5 today.
Nice.
So with that, thank you everyone for joining us. Please go ahead and share us what you're drinking. When you watch the show, put it in the comments. Let us know. It could be water. It could be a nice tea, coffee. Let us know, and everybody else what beverage of choice you are enjoying while you're enjoying our happy hour. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week for our next episode. And you're certainly welcome to watch any of our other content, like on Tuesday. We've got a creator toolbox coming up. I probably should have known what that was before I said there's a creator toolbox on Tuesday, but there is one. It'll be here.
There is one. Well, we're going to do it. I don't know what we're going to do it about, but it's a little early. It's still 4 days before. So
yeah, it's still 4 days before. So with that, have a great day whenever you're viewing this. Bye-bye, everybody.